Folks, I just had one of the biggest wins in my entire Scrabble career at the 2026 World Cup Championship in Williamsburg, Virginia. With a whopping 15 titled IMs and GMs in the field, including former world champion Wellington Jigare and reigning world champion Adam Logan, I knew this tournament would be extremely tough. One of my goals going in was to somehow win 19 of the 31 games, which would just barely be enough to earn my third and final Grandmaster norm, earning me the coveted GM title, and I was able to achieve that goal with a few rounds to spare. I had so many great games along the way, and in this video we're going to take a closer look at one of the most exciting, my round 14 matchup with the world champion Adam Logan. It is always a privilege to play Adam, who has the first move in this game and plays Mecha for 28. I don't exactly get the type of draw I wanted to start things off, and I can't do very much to respond. My options are to exchange tiles, play tie for 10 points, or play Otitic also for 10 points, but using more tiles and opening the board a bit more for Adam. The engine clearly prefers tie, making it quite difficult for Adam to score anywhere in response, but I can't stomach the 3-vowel 1-consonant leave and decide to risk Otitic anyway. I can get hit decently hard with overlaps along the left side of this word. Instead, Adam answers with Riot for 24, which is definitely a stroke of luck for me. My highest scoring play is now Weber for 38, which looks like a strong choice. I see it, but I start thinking about whether or not Adam's play of Riot indicates that he's holding E's in reserve to try to hit the triple with a good play. Given that I have 2 E's in hand already myself, playing Jibe for 28 and trying to draw a third E towards Ew for 51 is a tempting plan. I can't shake the feeling that Adam is hoping to hit that spot himself, though, so I pivot to Weir for 36, saving BGI for Jibe plays next turn. Once again, the engine considers this to be a medium-sized mistake, believing the left side of Otitic is much more dangerous to me than the triple spot. One other potential pitfall of Weir is the fact that it sets up a big flexible Z spot with Oye, since Tor hooks with nearly every vowel. And wouldn't you know it, the Z is exactly what I draw. I'm preparing myself to play Zig for 53 when Adam responds with Oriola for 61, his only playable bingo. This is definitely correct for him, turning 7 low-point, vowel-heavy tiles into a bingo score. It does have the major drawback of exposing 2 huge hooks along the triple lane in the E and S. All of a sudden, Zig doesn't seem as palatable, allowing Adam to take his best shot at the newly opened area. So I decide to play Wigs for 50 points, scoring almost as well as Zig, but also blocking a host of scoring plays Adam could have, hooking Oriole, and just as importantly, making a second spot for my Z to play for over 60 points if I draw an A, E, or O. The engine strongly approves of my choice, though it sets up much more than just my Z. Adam quickly proves this by playing Ya for 52 with his J, which wouldn't have hit nearly as hard prior to my play. Still, my replenishment draw includes an E, the X, and the first blank, so I can use the other Z spot to play Zex for 59 to keep pace, and hope that I draw well enough to bingo next turn with my blank. I pull an S and another consonant in the end, giving me Beguines for 77, hooking Swigs, but Adam hits me with Inseamed for 72, changing my decision somewhat. Now, even after my bingo, I'm going to start my next turn behind on the scoreboard after Adam's next play, so I decide to pivot to the slightly higher scoring Binius for 82, opening new areas of the board. Adam answers with Sponger for 39, scoring well and reaching as hard as possible for the second blank. Still, although I draw the Q after my bingo, it comes alongside exactly the right letters to give me Cade for 57, far and away my best play. The BF combination in my leave isn't going to lead to many bingos, but 57 points is 57 points. Adam tacks on another very good score with Hokey for 43, which gives back very little to either triple, with both C's already used for Chid. My draw is kind of clunky, and I have a tough decision on my hands. I'd like to get rid of both the B and the F here, as these are my weakest two bingo tiles, and if I could shed the U, I'd love to do that as well. I also take note that the unseen tiles are quite heavily lopsided in favor of consonants, so I'd like to keep a few vowels if I can. Fortunately for me, I see a play that does all of these things in fub for 29. I put it on the board and I'm about to play it with my hand hovering over the button of the clock when I realize that I haven't properly taken stock of the blank tile, which is an O, and thus this would form the invalid word theo. We call this phenomenon blank blindness, where players fail to properly take stock of the letter that the blank is supposed to be. I'm embarrassed by this, but I'm also grateful that I caught myself just before hitting the clock, so I pick up my tiles and search for an alternative. Eventually, I settle on amoeba for 33, which scores well and draws 5 tiles towards the second blank. On the other hand, the FU combination left on my rack is often going to set me up poorly for my next move. Not to mention, Adam's going to know exactly what my final 2 tiles are after amoeba, as I just placed them on the board with fub. In this particular case, that knowledge makes little difference, as Adam has a bingo that plays in only one spot, Talaunt for 72. It's bad enough to see Adam play a bingo, but a natural bingo, or a bingo without a blank in it, is a very bad outcome for me, making it likely that Adam has snagged the second blank from the bag on his replenishment draw. I draw shift to my FU leave, and I'm lamenting the fact that stuffish isn't a word. I will likely have to play fish for 50 here, and although this gets me somewhat close on the scoreboard, keeping my U in reserve with 2 V's still lurking in the unseen tiles is a recipe for trouble, and my odds will not be very good of winning this game. After a moment, I realize in a flash that I have one other amazing option, the E of Aureola, where a play hooking swigs or twigs will still fit. And miraculously, I have just such a play. Huffiest for 93 points, catapulting me back into the lead. This is a devastating blow to Adam, who answers with the solid Renai for 39, but after my bingo, I am the one to draw that all-important second blank from the bag, and furthermore, I've managed to dodge both of the V's. After a few minutes of searching, I conclude that I don't have any playable bingos here, and I turn my attention to setting myself up well for the end game. As long as I can weather a V draw from the bag, I am likely going to squeak out a victory, and I come up with the engine's favorite play of Tong for 29, leaving the flexible DER blank in reserve. Drawing the V will give me outplays of Raved for 30 or Dervs and Talants for 16, and Adam will have too many clunky tiles on his rack to keep place. As it turns out, I do end up drawing the V, and after Adam's Veal for 26, I go out with Raved for 30 for a thrilling 493 to 456 win over the world champion. Just looking at the list of moves played in this game would fail to capture how close I was to committing a terrible mistake with fub, but fortunately I caught myself moments before disaster. Drawing into Huffiest followed by the second blank was an incredible stroke of luck, and I kept having lucky breaks just like this over the full course of the event. I will definitely be showcasing more of my own games, as well as some of the best games from the live stream in both the Collins and NWL divisions of the Word Cup, so stay tuned for those in the coming weeks. And once again, thank you all so much for the kind words and support in the aftermath of my victory. I really appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.